So what is this episode of The Mandalorian all about?
I wish I could tell you because I couldn't watch it.
Why?
No, okay, I did watch it. This is the episode of The Mandalorian when Pelimoto tells Mando to take Frog Lady and her eggs to her husband, who knows a Mandalorian. So that's what sends him off world. But the catch is that he's not able to jump to light speed. Otherwise, it'll kill all of her babies. In the meantime, they get pulled over by some two X-Wings, and the Mandalorian leads them to this planet, an icy planet of sorts. And close to. And the Razor Crest takes quite a big hit and falls into an ice cavern that is unfortunately filled with spiders.
Okay.
And that's about all I could handle.
And you got lost with the spiders specifically.
Yes, the spiders. That is my number one fear. Even like cartoon spiders that are meant to be cute. I think it has to do with like the multiple eyes that just don't sit right with me. And these ones are so alien and so aggressively terrifying. They're just so scary.
Have you seen the movie Alien?
Yes.
Could you imagine if those specific spiders with like those snouts just jumped on your face?
Oh God, no! I would much
That's
rather
how you
take
go
the
out.
xenomorph than one of these spiders. And mind you, I am a Lord of the Rings fan, and I've watched all of Harry Potter, and there's spiders in both of those movies. I could not handle the Shelob scene in, what was it?
Return of the King?
Well, yeah, but also in the Hobbit series, like she has a bigger scene, right? I feel like there is.
There's a bunch of little spiders in The Hobbit.
Yes, I had a panic attack when I saw that in theaters. So that's where I'm coming from.
Isn't that arachnophobia? Is that what that is? Okay.
But I would take Shelob over
this.
This.
Wow.
Definitely. That is how
I learned something new today.
I know, I hate it.
Well, now we know. I enjoyed this episode. I mean, I didn't give it a great rating, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun. No, I was interested in Frog Lady's background with like, oh, her like race is dying. What's the story there? Like that was kind of neat. Yeah, we got Pelly. We got back to the cantina on Mos Eisley, which was super cool. Yeah, there was some good fan service in there. Let's see. I wrote a few things down here of like ways they've decided to please the fans.
I want to call out that this series does a really great job at showing different alien races. Like we see Pelimoto having that card game with the Ant-Man, Dr.
Paul Rudd.
Wait, was that Paul Rudd?
You said Ant-Man.
No. But we have that guy, and then we also had like the one-eyed like Cyclops guy in like the previous episode. And coming out of watching Andor, that was my biggest gripe about the series, was that it was too human-centered.
Yeah. It was pretty human-centered.
Like the whole prison was human guys. Do they separate them by race?
Yeah.
In these prisons? I have questions.
I was watching a fan film this week. It was like, you'll be shocked, but it was about Boba Fett.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was really good too. And it's he and Bosk in this cantina somewhere, and there's Dengar in it, and it's just crazy how the kind of fan films people can put together now that have that level of detail and costume design and the cameras they used to film it. It's just nuts. So yeah, and then you watch something like Andor. I don't mind no aliens in something like Andor.
It's Star Wars.
Yeah, it's Star Wars, but I think for Andor it worked because like I don't really feel much for Chewie at all. Like when he died, I was like moved. I was like, wow, that's the end of Chewie. And then he like turns out he wasn't dead in The Rise of Skywalker, and I was so annoyed. I was like, no, should have committed there.
But you know me, I love death, so I'm also an advocate like, yeah, kill him.
Wow. That's actually terrifying. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you never advocate for my death. Moving on, there was also, again, back to the spiders. They I don't know if you know this, but they actually come from concept art, these paintings and drawings from The Empire Strikes Back.
Yes, Ralph McQuarrie,
Yeah.
icon.
Yeah, pretty cool that they were able to bring
the
them back.
Also terrifying. I did look at the drawings before this episode, and they are very accurate to what they end up portraying in this.
I would be more afraid of that Wampa than I would be the spiders.
The Wampa.
That thing that attacks Luke in The Empire Strikes Back.
Oh.
That snow bear
Yeah.
thing. Yeah, I'd be more afraid of
No,
that.
definitely the spiders.
Really?
Yeah. Like their tube shape and like their mouth. Oh God, no, I'm serious. It's like, it was really upsetting. So in order to watch this, I had my husband Jake, I had to call him into the room. I had a blanket over my head and I was like, can you narrate what is happening for me right now? And he did a great play-by-play. I think he might have a future career in like sports broadcasting or something, because he hit every note that was going on. And I would try to peek through, and then I would get another glimpse of like a mob of spiders chasing them. And so I kind of guessed when it came to the technical aspects. I threw on a 4.
Okay.
Because
I guessed.
Because it was unsettling.
From how it sounded.
So it seemed pretty effective in making something so terrifying.
I just think of Jake. There was this guy. He's a Chicago Cubs announcer from like the 80s, 90s, forever. I don't know when he died, named Harry Carey. I'm just thinking of like someone like that narrating Star Wars. Like, wow, you see that? Those spiders, there's so many of them. It's crazy. Now they're just going off. I would love that. Or like Sunday Night Football. I would love to see one of those folks narrate Star Wars for me and just see how
Jake
it turns
was
out.
great. He was like, and they shot him, but it's really not doing anything. And now they're running away here. And there's like, he just threw like webs out of his mouth. And yeah.
Doing sound effects. And he gets up the gun and bang! And goes for the kill.
Yeah,
cool.
It was an emotionally exhausting episode for me.
All right. Cool. Well,
which is quite the emotional roller coaster, because last week we were just talking about how freaking awesome that episode was. And I wish I could say the same for this one.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, my own personal bias against spiders is probably bringing this down. And we also have to throw in that Christian is not feeling well today. So he has not been able to watch and score this episode yet. So it hangs in limbo.
It freaked him out even more than it did you. He couldn't even make it to talk about it to this episode.
It made him physically sick.
It made him ill. The view of spiders made him ill. No. Christian, he didn't get his ranking in, though. I'll tell you that. So we don't actually know he's so sick, couldn't get his ranking. So we don't even know what it's going to be. But I gave it a 69.6%. You gave it a 63.2%. So right now it sits in that 66-ish% range. I'm going to guess Christian's going to give it like a 72%. Knowing him.
He probably likes the nod to like Empire Strikes Back lore-ish.
Yeah, and I could see him giving it a good number. So I bet you this thing ends up around like a 67%, 68 overall. So not great.
No, but it does remind me of a hot take that I had earlier when we were reviewing Mandalorian Season 1, which was I anticipated that Baby Yoda would go to the dark side. And I think this was kind of the writer's first step in trying that theory out.
Yeah.
Because he is eating the last of this woman's lineage.
Mm-hmm.
Like just casually popping them back like they're just gummy bears.
Candy.
Yeah.
I know.
And burping in her face. Like, your spawn tastes so delicious to me.
To be fair, they were unfertilized eggs at this point. So there was no life in them. But yeah, he did very nonchalantly, though, pick up a baby spider and eat it with no problem. So if that thing was fertilized, we can only assume now he still would not have given any sort of craps.
Yeah, I do want to point out, I did watch the part where he eats the spider, and it was fine because you didn't really see the spider, but that looked like kind of the first instance of the child getting CGI is what I thought.
I saw it. Yeah, it kind of knocked the technical aspects for me because it looked very You could just tell. And on top of that, there's one point where he puts him down, and Baby Yoda, or Grogu, he runs to the back of the ship, and it almost looked like he's on like a